And please feel free to share if you are joining us on the Empowered Voices Network on YouTube. Again, please give us those great comments, give us the like, subscribe, and share. Okay. All right. So, without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I do not want to belabor the time. And again, whether you're live or in replay, I sincerely thank you for joining. If this is your first time with me, let me give you just a little bit of background before we jump into tonight's topic. The Kiss Corner is created or has been created as a safe space for people leaving toxic relationships. And I'm going to say specifically, I will nod towards a focus with women because that's what I am and what I know. Uh, and so, when you're coming out of these toxic relationships, you have to do the work. Right, to be able to elevate to a higher version of yourself. And so the Kiss Corner has been created as a place to come to do just that, right? So that is the cornerstone, if you will, of the Kiss Corner. And so this evening, if you have not caught it already, our title is When the Silence Speaks, Don't Mute Your Joy. Right? The volume of your healing does not depend on someone else's response. And so, again, welcome, welcome, and welcome again. So, before we get into the meat of today's conversation, please, I just want to take a quick pause and give a full hearted shout out to all of the dads. I know Father's Day was last week, but like I said, this is our first Sunday segment. And so, I did do my personal shout outs to all the men in my friend circle, my family circle, and all of those things, my workplace circle. And I do that every year. But I just wanted to give a nod here on the Kiss Corner as well to the real MVPs, right? The dads, the stepdads, the grandfathers, the uncles, the mentors, the coaches, right? Who show up in the lives of our children. And I always venture to say, it's not even just the young children who are so positively impacted by those who step up, because we all need that male figure and support in our lives. So for the young men and women and for the adults, right, you still have those figures in your lives who give guidance. And so with that being said, I just wanted to take this moment to make sure that I gave honor to you and to say thank you. And so now I'm going to go ahead and share something that's a little bit closer to home, right? Like I said, last Sunday was Father's Day. And when we wrapped up the week last week, because that was the last week of school as well. And so my girls, I taken them out, and they asked if they could stop and get their Father's Day cards. And I'm not going to lie, I felt a kind of way for a moment. I did. And I had to get myself out of that. He's their dad, we're going to honor, right? No matter what's going on between the two of us, I'm not going to put them in a trick bag. And so, okay, they picked out their cards. My son wasn't with me, so I took him the following day, and he was like, yeah, I want to get a card. And so he went and he got his, right? Um, and so Father's Day showed up, and they called. My son is the only one of the three kids who has his own phone, and so he was calling, and I was asking, did you contact your dad? Did you reach out? You guys make sure you reach out, say Happy Father's Day. Now, this is not to say that they don't speak on any other day or anything like that, but in recognition, right? So they called. About 3 times on my son's phone. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So he's like, he's not answering. And so I'm like, all right, so I'll call, on my phone. No answer. So then I'm like, all right, let me bridge the space, right? Let me send a text. And they did ask, yeah, can you send a text on our behalf? Nothing crazy, just, happy Father's Day meme type of thing. And by the end of the day, the day is winding down. It's Sunday. It's still nothing, right? No answer, no call back, no text. And so the following day, because we were late, admittedly, like I said, it was the end of the school year. I will take the fault for that. It was a lot going on. But again, we still want to make the acknowledgement. And so they had the cards. I mailed the cards off. I did like that Monday or Tuesday. And the lady said, oh, the cards probably won't get there till Saturday. Okay, cool. Better late than never, right? They put their pictures inside of each one, like the whole nine. And Saturday, today is Sunday. Saturday was yesterday. Saturday has, come and gone. Um, no call, no text, no thank you, no I got them, no tell the kids I love them, nothing. And so, you know, the mama bear in me was not pleased, to say the least. It stung. And then I'm looking at them and they're kind of, be honest, I mean, for what it's worth, they give the appearance of taking it in stride. My youngest was the most dismayed, the most visibly, I'll say, the most visibly dismayed. And so, it was a little dicey there for a moment. Backing up, they did call on Thursday while we were out, and my son spoke to his dad. My oldest daughter, she spoke. We happened to be shopping in the moment. My youngest, she said she didn't want to speak, so she came with me to ring up the clothes. And when they finished, they met me at the register and I'm like, did you guys, you spoke to your dad? They're like, yeah, he didn't seem too thrilled. He seemed a little annoyed, but, we did speak to him. I'm like, okay. So again, I didn't ask whether or not they mentioned about him receiving the cards or anything because it wasn't anticipated until Saturday. Then again, like I said, Saturday has since come and gone and nothing, right? Um, and so I had to, in the midst of that and afterwards, remind both them and myself that this isn't about us, right? Um, it's about him and his own healing. And so we have to respect that space. You know, they did what they wanted to do, to honor. Um, I did the best that I could to create the environment and the space for that to be done. And, to reassure them that that silence wasn't on them, And what I personally know, as a result of a conversation, and I'm loosely using the term conversation from about 3 weeks ago, and he's kind of gone really silent since then, that, the silence was an attempt at punishment. It's really towards me, but it's going through them, right? And these are the games that we're not going to play. And so, um, in realizing that he's not punishing me, he's really showing our kids exactly why I left. Um, and so, all of that to say, the unanswered call is not a loss, it's a lesson, right? It's a mirror and a full moment of clarity. And so, for any of the mamas listening right now who feel like they keep trying, right? Only to be met with silence. I want you to hear me clearly. You are not crazy. You're not bitter. You're not wrong. You're doing the right things. You're healing. right? And you're showing your kids what real, unwavering, conditional love looks like, right? Um, and so the card that you took them to get, the call that you encouraged them to make, um, that's all you, right? That's you parenting with integrity. And that's the best you can do. There's no fault. You cannot, I've always said, you can deliver a message. Re- you can't control how the message is received, right? All you can do is deliver. You can deliver it in quote unquote the best way possible, whatever that is, because again, that too is subjective, right? What sounds good to you may fall on deaf ears to the other. Whatever the case is, all you can do is the best that you can do, and you put it out there and you have to release it. You can't control how it's received. And so you're showing your kids honor, right? Even when honor is not always returned. And unfortunately, that's kind of a hard part of life, right? That sometimes what you put out doesn't come back to you. And we just have to take that as the lesson and move forward. Move forward. And so let me just, if you were in that type of predicament now or ever, you haven't lost any sense of connection. You've more or less found confirmation, right? You chose peace over pretending. And yeah, it hurts. It hurts like the dickens, right? Because you'd rather anything to go directly to you than through your children in any way. Um, but there's also a healing that's there, right? And sometimes the silence is the loudest reminder, the loudest reminder that you made the right choice, plain and simple. So, don't mute your joy just because someone else refused to answer the call, literally and figuratively, of course, right? You and your babies, you still deserve love. You still deserve light, and you still deserve laughter. And that is your frequency, right? That is your higher rise, right? When they go, what Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. I mean, that's it. You stay on that higher frequency, but know that you are just constantly receiving confirmation of a tough decision that you made. So I'm just going to go ahead and begin to wrap this up. I want to say again to the fathers who are present with love, not just position. I'm going to say that again. To the fathers who are present with love, not just position. We honor you. To the father figures who do the same, we honor you. I'm going to take this quick moment to do a shout out to my brothers, Imare Williams and Elijah Williams. They both, in their own ways, play a very significant role, not only to their respective families, but to my children as well. And so I'm glad that they get to continuously see um, the example of that non position yet present love in their lives, because it can't just come from mama, right? Like we said, the male figure role, we both play a part um, in children's lives. And so I thank you. To the mothers who carry both pain and peace, we see you, right? That's why we're here. We see you, and we're here to support and to help, right? Please know that you are not alone. To the woman who mailed the card last week and made the call and sent the text and got no response, that silence was not your shame in any way, it was your clarity. You showed up, you did your part, and now you move forward with a full heart and clear conscience. So, again, full heart, clear conscience, and knowing that you have parented and moved with full integrity. And that's just it. You continue to keep that J in your joy. So, this is the Kiss Corner, guys. And we not just gonna kiss goodbye, we gonna kiss forward, right? Before we finish out. Because, yeah, I kept this Sunday a little short. It's our inaugural Sunday, right? But I definitely cannot leave without making sure that as we are speaking of elevating and healing and honoring, right, that I always give the reminder that here at the Kiss Corner, we are proud to be partnered. I am proud to be partnered with Empowered Voices, finding strength in survivors. And if you're catching us on YouTube, this is where we are, right? This is a platform that has created a space for truth tellers, for cycle breakers, and for those still finding their way through the fog. If you believe in this mission, in creating safer, more loving futures for our families, I invite you to support us. If you're watching on Facebook, you'll see the link in our comments. And if you're on YouTube, you may see it scrolling to the bottom of the screen. Feel free in Facebook. You can DM PJ Jones. You can DM Cassandra Williams. We'll be more than happy to give you whatever information you need as it is necessary, because every contribution makes it possible for survivors to be heard, to be seen, and to be supported. And that is exactly why we are here every week and every month through all the phenomenal work that PJ is doing with the Empowered Voices Network, right? It's for survivors to begin to do that work to elevate into thriving. And so this is why we're here. And so I'm asking you to help make that contribution today, please. So, with all of that being said, June 22nd, right? First Sunday segment. Really appreciate you guys for joining us this evening. Again, I'm always here. I'm willing to share. It's not always so easy, but it is definitely necessary. And so I thank you again for joining the Kiss Corner. This is Cassandra Williams, aka Coach Kiss. Mwah. And again, please continue to elevate as you move along your healing journey. Stay soft, stay strong, and stay free. I'll see you again next Sunday. What do you say? Same back time, same back station. So 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday, time and date change, right? Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you. Thank you for your time. Give us those likes, those loves, those subscribes, those cares, and please feel free to share if this has resonated with you or someone you may know in any way. Please feel free to share. Until next week. Mwah. This is the Kiss Corner signing off. See you next week.